Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new, welcome. So this video is kind of a difficult video for me to post, but I keep it real with you guys. So this video is talking about my recent diagnosis, or my confirmation diagnosis, I guess, and what's been going on and what happened. So if you guys haven't seen my previous videos, I talked about how I was hospitalized and my mental health and things like that or whatever. They said that, they diagnosed me with manic depression, which is kind of like bipolar disorder. And I didn't really believe them because I lied. I said whatever, just to, I don't know, I just lied. I wasn't honest or whatever to them. So I ended up thinking, I'm fine. I don't have any disorder or anything like that. But I feel like there was still something wrong with me. I felt like something was still not right. So I've been having a lot of anxiety and a lot of paranoia and things like that or whatever. That's why I didn't smoke weed, because I was always paranoid and shit like that. So I decided to go see a therapist, and I thought I had anxiety, like really high anxiety. So I didn't think anything of it. I thought like, oh, it's just anxiety or whatever. So I said, I went to go see my I got a therapist, and I started talking to him, and I said, I think I have anxiety or paranoia or whatever, and I just really want to confirm. And I told him that I was hospitalized, but I lied. I wasn't honest with them, and I want to be honest with you, so maybe I can better have a real diagnosis of what's going on. So I told him that they diagnosed me with manic depression, which is bipolar disorder, and I'm not sure if that's what I was like in. And he said, okay, I'm gonna get to know you more, whatever. So while we're talking, I've been talking to him for like 3-4 months now. So maybe like the second month, he's like, I agree that you might not have, bipolar disorder. Like, I feel like bipolar disorder might not be what you have. I think more you have maybe like depression, maybe like mood swing, like mood depression. Like, I don't know what he said, but he was like, maybe not bipolar disorder. So anyway, I was like, okay, I'm talking to him every week or whatever. During the holidays, we decided, the last one was the week before. I see him every Wednesday. The last one was the Wednesday before the week of Christmas. And so he was like, we can take that one off, we can take the next week off, and I'll see you in the first week of January. And so I'm like, okay. A lot of shit happened, the whole thing with my job, the whole thing with the open relationship and me doing things or whatever. So anyway, with my open relationship, I decided to, have some fun, and I texted somebody, and we ended up having fun. Texted the guy, and we had some fun, and it was great. And, he said that he wanted to see me again the following day. The following day, he did not see me. He said that he fell asleep, he got too drunk or whatever, and he forgot. He kind of like stood me up. So I'm like, it's whatever, you can make it up to me the next day. The next day, he ended up texting me again saying, oh, the car is in the shop. When I saw him the day, he's like, I'm going to have to bring it in anyway. So I knew that the car was going to be somewhere, whatever. But he's like, oh, the car's in the shop. I can't see you today. And I kind of got really disappointed. I don't know why or whatever. But I ended up deciding to go and make a Tinder account, because I was just like, I want to have sex. I want to do that. Like, I'm infatuated. Like, I'm excited. Like, I was so into the whole sex thing or whatever. I was like, I did this before. Like, I could do it again. And I I went on Tinder and I was talking to this guy, and this guy was gonna come, but it was too far because he had to go to work or whatever. And I'm like, oh, you suck. So then I started looking again, and I found this other guy, and he was mad close. He said, oh, I'm not doing anything, I'm just chilling in the car. I'm like, oh, great, he drives. Like, I don't want people like that don't drive or whatever. So I'm like, oh, great, he drives. I'm like, oh, I'm not doing nothing. And he's like, oh, you want to come? And I was like, sure. And then he went, and we ended up going to a motel, and shit hit the fan. We started doing it. I felt amazing, great. All of a sudden, I was so excited, so happy. Like, yes, I'm getting it. First of all, he wasn't that great, but it was not what I wanted. I wanted to be with Roger. I wanted to be with someone else, not him, not a random person. And its dick wasn't great. So it's not like, oh yeah, the dick was so good. Like, no, I think that's what it was too. Like, it wasn't good. And I was just trying to get the best out of it. He ended up doing something that I didn't consent to. I told him no, but he did it anyway. And he did not wear a condom. And he ended up, I'm just gonna say it, like, he entered me anally, and it didn't hurt or anything. It was fine because his dick was small, so it was fine. He entered me anally with no condom, nothing. And he ended up coming in my ass. And I asked him to put on a condom. I asked him if he was clean, but he wouldn't listen to me. He wouldn't say anything, and he continued to do it. And I told him to stop, and he did not. So after that, I felt so bad. I mean, so bad. I was like, oh my God, now I have AIDS. I was like going to the extreme. He said he was clean. He seems like a clean person. But then all of a sudden my paranoia came, and I was like, oh, he's talking about no girl likes him and blah, 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 blah. And he never has, like, whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's probably because he has AIDS and he don't want to tell nobody, and because no one wants to have sex with somebody who has AIDS. Like, all of this was going in my head. And I'm just like, I have AIDS now. Like, I have HIV, AIDS. I am gonna die. Like, it's like, that's what I was thinking. And I didn't feel good. At the end, I felt so scared. I felt regret, remorse. I felt ashamed. And on the ride back, he was like, oh, I feel guilty. And then I'm like, why you feel guilty? Because you got AIDS and you told me like you didn't get AIDS. Like, those are the things that I was thinking in my head. And it got so bad. It was really bad. Like, honestly, it was a really bad experience. And I'm just like, why did I do this? Why did I do this to myself? Like, why do I always do this? Like, I'm gonna ruin my relationship. I'm gonna ruin my marriage. I'm gonna ruin my life for this. And it wasn't even great. And it was too much. So when I came back, it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. I ended up sitting in the car, smoking a cigarette, crying, because I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I ended up calling the emergency aid HIV hotline, and I started on PEP. So PEP is, the post-exposure, I forget the prophylactic or whatever it's called. So you have PrEP and PEP. PrEP is the one that you do before if you know that you're going to have unprotected sex or sex with someone who is positive for HIV or /AIDS, or you're at higher risk. They usually recommend you to take PrEP. It's something like birth control instead of, so a lot of people try to explain it, and this is the best way I can explain the two. But actually, I'm gonna do this in a part 2. So stay tuned, guys. Peace.